Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another day, and it's more Dota 2 Super League. I'm LD, I'm joined by Guides, and we are about to cast Team DK versus LGD International. Group A now wrapped up. Vici Gaming, unfortunately, they got knocked out. Tongfu, IG, and LGD, they all advanced. Guides, now we turn our attention to Group B.
Yeah, Group B has some of its own interesting matches up in store for itself. We've had one match sort of in the middle of Group A, which was LGD International taking down Rattlesnake 2-1 in a really cool series. There was some Tusker picks, there was some Wisp CK.
Yeah.
It had it all, but we're now here. It's LGD International. You can see them there in China at the DSL studios. They're getting ready to take on, well, one of the Chinese beasts, Team DK.
Yeah, looking pretty nice there with the green, the red. You'd almost think it's Christmas, but it's not. It's May. The draft underway now, and, well, I'm curious to see how LGD.int actually does here, because from what I've been hearing, what Brax has said publicly, they've been struggling a lot in scrims and haven't really been winning many unless they get CK Wisp.
Yeah, at the same time, there was a recent article by Ghosty Gamers because they were actually in the LGD house, and apparently they were breezing through Tongfu, who, well,
one of the stronger teams right now.
They won Group A. LGD did manage to beat them. But this is all, of course, these teams play Scrim day after day. They're playing multiple games every day. So they'll have some good days, some bad days. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. We do see LGD here on the Radiant side. From rumors, they've been running a lot of Wisp CK. They're not going to pick it up here in the first 3 picks. They could grab a Wisp if they want to, but it looks like they're going to favor a Visage as one of their 2 supports.
Yeah, there's just a lot of kind of chaos in these fights when you have Kunkka cleave, flat cannon splashing through. You pick a Wisp, may just be collateral damage in the upcoming fights here. We'll see what they go for. They do start with the Darkseer, though, and for LGD, this is actually here they run mid a lot, something that G will often take there, whereas most of the other Chinese teams, it's off lane or jungle. But if it goes solo mid, wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I think it'll also depend on what they're expecting from DK. If DK is sending someone like the Kunkka mid, Darkseer does match up very nicely there, but they won't really know that until they see more of DK's draft. Gyrocopter are capable of safe lane solo if they want to go offensive trialing with the Kunkka and then grab some sort of a snowball type hero for super in the mid lane. LGD, they round things off with a Rubik, so they pretty much locked in their 2 supports here.
I do want to point out that we have Pycat in this game as well as Burning, and yet no Lone Druid pick. Through the first 6 picks so far ignored. Maybe DK snap it up here, but when you've already started with Kunkka and Gyro, seems kind of unlikely.
Yeah, it does seem very unlikely. I don't think DK will be picking up with this 3rd pick of theirs. If anything, I'd look towards a support, something like a Keeper of the Light, just one of your stable supports. Shadow Demon, he seems to be getting banned more and more as of late. I like DK's draft. They've been picking up the Gyrocopter quite a lot. When I first couple of games I saw them play it with Burning, it wasn't fantastic, but it fit their playstyle, even if he didn't play it and lane it as beautifully as he plays heroes like his anti-mage.
I mean, the one thing I like about the Gyro is it really gives you options. He can actually 1v1 pretty well against Darkseer, especially if you pool him regen. We've seen that before. So it gives them the option to go aggressive trialing. They'll go back for the Windrunner here. But the other thing is it also scales into the late game. So it gives DK a stronger laning carry, but someone who scales, and for them, they've kind of been struggling to find that balance between getting Burning a hero that can go late and then finding the farm and not just losing the game in the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it seems that the era of the anti-mage is now over. Windrunner's an interesting little pickup here, capable offlaner, but also a hero that teams like Alliance love to run as a sort of a soft support in that 4 position. If you want to put something like that with the Gyrocopter, you're up against a Dark, so you can do well enough zone Dark Shadow lane as well as use some pulls, and now we'd see LGD and banning off, well, your obvious support options.
Yeah, your strong supports and heroes that combo well with Windrunner. If you get a Keeper of the Light and Earthshaker, you just have that sniper tri-lane where you can blow them up from distance. You don't even really have to engage, and it will put LGD in on the back foot. They've gotten the Visage early. I'm curious to see how they're going to use it, because I haven't seen them run it yet, but it's been a very successful hero for other teams.
Yeah, looking back at the TI3 Eastern qualifiers, it was probably the hero with one of the best win rates, especially considering how much it was picked. It ended up with something like a 72% win rate after being
I
picked
think it was
24,
like
17
and 7, 16 and 7, something along those lines.
Yeah, it was just ridiculously successful, and, well, LGD's counter team, their brother team, LGD China, were one of the big sort of teams pushing forward the Visage pick.
Yeah, very versatile hero. We've seen him as a tri-lane farmer, as a 4-position support. We've even seen Visage's roam on occasion. Now, I'm not personally a big fan of that, but teams are not afraid to experiment with this hero. And the one nice thing about picking it is it does discourage your opponents from getting too aggressive. If they do, they really have to pick a dominant tri-lane, and it seems like that's the focus for both teams now. We see a twin-headed dragon ban, a Wisp ban, not so much for the laning stage, more just for the mid-game, but Keeper Light, Earthshaker, 3 supports that can really dominate the laning stage, all of them banned out.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see where DK look to go with this. There's still so many countless support options. We even saw them go back to your old school support, the Undying, in the earlier G1 League land files. They did with a Crystal Maiden, so DK are big supporters of trying out these more unconventional supporters.
And that's something Dai has a pretty good win rate with, I believe. At least whenever I've cast him, he's been very successful with it. What will LGD.int go for now? We don't have Pycats here. We may have Gs with the Darkseer solo mid. Also, speaking of LGD.int, we haven't really talked about it too much, Gods, but since we were last casting them regularly, they've gone through a bunch of role switches.
Yeah, they now have Misery playing in the offlane. Brax has switched over to the 4-position support. Those of you who caught their first match against Rattlesnake would have seen Brax playing that 4-position Tusker.
He even played the Wisp.
Yeah, plays the Wisp. So he's on that 4-position. Everything else is still more or less the same. I think every now and then it'll be Pycat in the mid lane if he gets something like the Lone Druid, depending on what the draft is. Even saying like a Gyrocopter mid may be played by Pycat, but
yeah,
that was when we saw Brax playing stuff like Safe Lane Clinks, but... Sorry, not Brax, G playing Safe Lane Clinks, but they mix things up a bit.
And we'll see DK actually ban out Spectre, a hero that's really risen to prominence as of late, and worried about LGD.int having that late game. And I mean, you look at DK right now, they have a lot of farming and level dependent heroes. They're going to need some supports. What's left for them?
Oh, curious. I mentioned the Undying. Maybe we sort of look to go. That's not really a good 5-position support, but right now they're somewhat limited as options go. Almost all 5 bans from LGD in some ways are support heroes. Yeah. Assassin the only one who you can say, hey, he can solo mid as well. So they're awfully limited. If anything, at this point, you're saying, okay, Winran's going to be our 4-position support. Maybe we look even for something like a Chen here to sort of go for that. Nope, Crystal Maiden.
A hero they've actually, she has a 30%, actually I think less than a 30% win rate, but the last time they ran her, they did win.
Hey, in the last, month or so, CM has a 100% win rate, because as far as I remember, that's the only game CM was picked.
Well, there's your Statsman Gods in the house. We don't need Bruno here. Just kidding, Bruno, I love you. But LGD.int, what do they go for as that last pick? Looks like, I mean, it really could go either way. You can tri-lane the Darkseer. That's something we've seen LGD.int do a lot in the past, but it's kind of an awkward tri-lane. They don't really have a whole lot of lockdown. Visage isn't necessarily the best combo here with Darkseer. Works better when you have a lot of burst damage, and they don't have that.
No, they don't have it just yet, and we'll see. If they want to go for the Darkseer tri-lane, they need some burst damage, which is going to be something like your Queen of Pain, your Puck, but I think more likely it's going to be a standard Luna in that tri-lane, or even Luna's a safe lane solo, and then they go for something like a Rubik, Visage, Juggernaut tri-lane. Yeah, Darkseer can go mid.
Even if they want a little more burst, even something like a Lina, a Leshrac, that's a little bit squishier is the main concern. But let's see what LGD.int does. As for DK, it could be a support Windrunner. You mentioned that. It could also be if they want to run an aggressive tri-lane, which generally when you pick Crystal Maiden, the goal with this pick is you start doing a lot of work at level 2 because she does not scale well. So it's more of an aggressive support.
Oh, Slack. The new hero in the current meta game.
The new kid on the block?
Yeah, he's had some decent stick. This is a hero who, I mean, I remember, I think it was an interview with Korok where people, because he was one of the first big sort of people pushing this hero forward, and people were like, how do you play him, how do you lane him? He's like, just give him a solo. He can be solo mid, safe lane solo, off lane solo, doesn't matter. All he needs is some levels. He doesn't really synergize well with other support heroes. He just needs to do his own thing in the laning stage, and he'll fit in just fine with LGD.int's draft.
It lends a little bit of... It kind of clears things up for our lanes now. So we'll see Slark almost always goes mid. That puts Darkseer either as an off-lane solo or as a tri-lane hero if they want to put the Luna solo. DK going to round things off with a Chen, and when we've seen the Chen picks and the Enchantress picks as of late in Chinese Dota and also from Alliance Gods, it's not necessarily just to farm. It's often to punish that solo in the safe lane.
Yeah, IG were really looking to get down those fast tier 1 towers. They did it yesterday against LG China. Didn't really work out there, but it worked out for them against 4Love when they were taking these fast tier 1 towers with the Chen pick. They can go for something like the CM, Gyro, Chen lane and just, well, keep Darkseer out of the lane.
Misery on the Slark. Now, with LGD.int, their roles have generally been flexible. You mentioned how Pycat can go mid. I'd be surprised to see a tri-lane Slark, but hey, Misery's been playing the 3 role, so maybe we'll see.
Or it could even be an off-lane Slark if they want to go that route.
It's a hard matchup against Gyrocopter, though. You really can't do anything, because Slark's all about being close to the opponents, and you get close, you eat a rocket barrage.
Well, I think it's kind of like I was saying with Korok. He said Slark goes solo any lane. He's not. I don't think he's meant to be a solo mid. I think it's just give him XP. He's not leveled. They're actually going to switch back. They do a cheeky... This is LGD.int were the first proponents of this. They love to confuse their opponents, but by now, no one gets confused by this for a second. G swaps over, takes a Slark now for himself. They do this almost every single game, LGD.int.
I think this hero really suits G as well. He is such a snowball player. He loves to just kind of ride the wave of momentum, and they'll give him the Slark. So on the side of LGD.int, we have the only team with a win yet in Group B, because there's only been one match. They are 1-0 in Group B. LGD.int looking for a hot start here. Can they jump out to 2-0? We'll find out over the course of this best of 3. G on the Slark, 14-37, handling the Rubik. That'll be your 5-position support. Brax, the 4-position Visage, early smoke and sentry wards picked up. Misery taking the Darkseer. He now plays the 3 role, the off lane or the jungler for this team. And last, but certainly not least, we have Pycat handling the Luna.
Well, Team DK over on the dire side, it's your legendary Chinese squad. We've got ROTK playing the winner, it looks like to be in the offlane. Super going to be playing the solo mid Kunkka. Then we have MMY playing the Crystal Maiden. How far he has come from playing Storm Spirit solo mid to a mere Crystal Maiden.
This disappoints me because I look to Dai as one of the better playmaking supports in China, and how many plays can you really make with Crystal Maiden?
We'll have to wait and see. I have some big hopes for this Crystal Maiden when a player like Weapon X is on that. Burning going to be playing the Gyrocopter. Expect lots of farm there. And QQQ on a Chen, a hero he's actually played quite a bit of, even back when he was playing with eHome. So definitely a hero he's very comfortable with, which is where you see Dai put on.
He's not a flashy micro player per se, but just kind of a solid, stable jungler. That's generally what we see from QQQ. And there isn't early smoke of Deceit God, so maybe we see this Crystal Maiden and this Chen go for some early ganks.
Yeah, they'd love to get a first blood on G, maybe before he hits level 6 and can get that invis up. Leap, you can be countered by just blocking the leap with your body, which is a nice little way of actually making him gankable.
we found that out earlier, 1v1 mid. I actually tested the
It was this matchup, yeah.
Yeah, it was this matchup, and if you body block, the leap doesn't work. So
yeah.
We were actually testing to make sure that Dark Pact does in fact not debuff X marks the spot, which after some testing we confirmed it doesn't, but off the bat, LGD.int, they'll go first, known for their dual roam. They're going to go in mid. They throw Super back. He's going to take a lot of damage, caught by the leash. Can they bring him down in time? They've already used Grave Chill, no Soul Assumption, and Super running down the river. Doesn't look like he can get away. One more hit is required. Salving up the rotation from RTK. It will be enough. He actually escapes. They do force out the salve. They drive him off the lane, but call it DK catching a break.
Yeah, well, just not quite enough damage to kill off Super there. Actually, this Gauntlet of Strength maybe just saved his life.
I wonder if Soul Assumption would have been enough.
No, Soul Assumption, you want to go for the Grave Chill. Grave Chill better at level 1.
Well, especially the way he ran, they did get a couple of extra auto attacks in, but
the auto attacks do more damage over time than the Soul Assumption. It's more cost effective for the mana. It's the better way to go level 1 Visage.
And part of it is Slark just isn't really a strong level 1 hero. You leash someone, sure, but not much burst.
Yeah,
couldn't find the kill.
That's a lot of time used by LGN to try and get that kill. Super doesn't get much farm during that time, but this is a solo mid who you have there just to get levels, not really looking to get a ton of farm on him.
And meanwhile, top lane Misery, only level 1, has been zoned out so far. There is a Chen jungling freely during this time. QQQ getting close to level 3. Pretty efficient rotations from him through the jungle. LGD not able to strike and connect on that first blood. They'll now settle into an offensive trying with a Darkseer, a Visage, and a Rubik, a bit underleveled. And this is a difficult tri lane to actually find kills. There's not a lot of lockdown, which means Burning, he can get off multiple rocket barrages. If Chen shows up, could be trouble for LGD, so they'll have to be careful here. And right now, the other thing is they don't have an award that will actually spot QQQ if he comes directly sort of from your standard ganking path.
Yeah, and QQQ already level 3 on this Chen. He's at a nice little early start here, and you look at the level 1 versus level 2, 3 heroes on the DK trial lane. LG need to play this safe for the next couple of minutes, which they're doing. They've got the creep wave pulled back. They'll just look to farm this as safely as possible, and for the most part, LG just trying to find their groove right now.
Now, this is something very different. Looking at G's skill build mid, taking 2 points in Essence Shift. We've seen, usually it's either the Leap Max or Dark Pact, but just leveling up the Essence Shift really wants to dominate his lane.
Yeah, it's annoying for Super, but I think more for Super, he'll see this, his stats gains on, just think, okay, I need to sit back every time after I get right-clicked, not let him get that many right-clicks off.
I mean, I think it's for G. He feels like he can just completely outplay Super in the mid lane and gets this early haster and maybe can find a kill, if not mid, then possibly in that top lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he can actually go for kills, even with the extra points in Essence Chip. It's just not really a lane you can win until you get sort of level 4 or 5, and that's only because of points in Pounce and Dark Pact. That's where your DPS comes from.
The one nice thing is if you're able to steal his stats, it gets a little bit harder for the Kunkka to last hit, but he still has Tidebrainer, so how much does it matter? We'll see. Bottom lane, RTK taking some chip damage for Pycat. He's got the Tranquil Boots up. This is the one lane we haven't really looked at, but Pycat off to a decent start, 13 and 8. One thing is they can't really zone RTK out of the lane, so he'll still get a lot of levels off of this.
Yeah, well, especially considering it's now this 1v1 matchup, which is what DK wanted. They pick a Windrunner who's a decent 1v1 matchup hero up against the Luna. Luna, Pycat. This is where LGD really started and became famous with their playstyle. Him playing a safe lane solo, 1v1 against, well, in this case, a Windrunner, but Windrunner with a bottle can bottle Crow, so probably going to see a fairly even matchup there.
Yeah, so looking at the 2 solo lanes for LGD, going quite well. Actually, G, think about going in. Has a haste turn, but you get caught in that X-Torrent under tower, you are almost certainly dead. So he'll play it safe. Won't commit just yet, but you know G really wants to make a go. Rune will spawn bottom. It's going to be an invis. For the time being, gods, we'll take a look at the gold, the experience graph, since it has been a pretty passive game. And the big thing for me, DK very far ahead in terms of experience, and it's because A, the first gank didn't work, B, their aggressive tri-laning against the Chen, they haven't slowed him down. DK coming out ahead in terms of experience here so far.
And on top of that, they have the Chen, so a very fast farmer, and here can get a lot of XP in that jungle. They're smoked up, but similar thing from LGD, and they're rotating their supports, heading towards the bottom lane. This Chen CM, though, they're looking for a kill on Slark, and with an X-Torrent, we've seen it. It can counter that, well, can counter Pounce as well as Dark Pack.
It's the one thing with G, he is a very aggressive solo mid. He'll jump in now, and they're going to strike. They are going to pounce, and suddenly the Slark caught out of position, pulled back in, and will go down. Your first blood by DK, just taking advantage of G's characteristic aggression. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they'll go in on RTK. He gets lifted up. Another aggressive player and another dead player as well. So 1 for 1. What do you think?
I don't think this is going to... I mean, both teams get a small little gank. Nothing really too influential over the result until we start seeing big team fights happening or pushes coming from either team. This is just standard early game supports rotating around the map. DK with the Kunkka at mid. Interesting, he got the second point in the X-Master spot. He did get the kill on Slark. Slark, a hero, though, doesn't need a whole lot of farm, isn't going to be two-phased about one death early on.
You know, the other reason that there's such a level discrepancy is Misery. He was in the top lane, his level 2 was very delayed. Yeah. He's now jungling, but hasn't gotten many stacks off. He's just going to kill off the one big stack here, and at this point in the game, if Darkseer's jungling, can easily be level 6, getting close to level 7 with some good stacking and efficient jungling. So Misery, quite far behind, and you compare that to QQQ's Chen, who's also been ganking. He's quite far ahead, and they haven't really slowed down Burning's farm at all. He's still your lead farmer, 32 and 16. I mean, not immaculate CS, but certainly good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough, and that was up against the Darkseer, as well as what we saw early on when the supports rotated. They were denying the Radiant creep waves using this big camp in the top lane, so he's managed to farm almost everything that comes his way, even with some creeps being denied.
Misery, he'll continue to work his way through the jungle, hits level 4, and now the bottom rune. RTK picks up a haste. He'll back off, but he's got that in the bottle, and I mean, so far, if I'm DK, I feel pretty good just because my Chen's having a good time and Burning's getting free farm.
Yeah, the first blood, a nice little boost to their gold. Both heroes who actually died, the Windrun at bottom lane, the Slark at mid, aren't heroes who are going to be too badly hurt by being killed off. So we'll see the next couple ganks come out. There's probably a smoke from this Chen CM once again. These are going to be the ones which can sort of decide how the next 5-10 minutes of the game do go if we see some tower pushes to follow it up.
Gee, hunting a courier, perhaps. He won't find it. It's lurking in the tree line. This is a critical courier. It's got Super's face boots on it, basically, and it will deliver them now. And well, that could have been dangerous. Losing that courier, phase boot's such an important item to get immediately, and he'll get them in the end.
Yep, well, super phase boots now. This is, I mean, definitely at this point, Essence Shift does not matter. Actually misses a leap at mid lane, but Essence Shift is not going to hurt his last thing. He's got phase boots, he's got the Tidebringer. No problem at all. But what he does have to worry about is the two supports who may be coming in here.
You know, getting those early points in Essence Shift, generally you don't get off that many auto attacks in team fights. We'll see what G can make happen with this build, but could slightly neuter his ability to contribute. He'll eat a power shot, and then even mans up, pops his ultimate, Shadow Dance is there. Still with RTK lurking in the lane and having a haste rune. That's just G for you. Pretty confident.
Well, DK, they've gone for this tier 1 tower. Not as fast as we saw IG doing it with the Chen, but they're going to force out a glyph. They're also going to force out rotations if LGD want to prevent this from going down.
I feel it. Well, the one difference, I guess, IG was up against the CK Wisp, but I like this timing much better. You can actually look for 2 sets of towers with a level 6 Chen. Super's coming back in. Brax on the run. He actually turns around for a second, tries to dodge away from the net. He won't be able to. He'll blow up. Now G, can he get away? Is there a sentry ward here? Doesn't look like it. The boat comes in. Is it gonna connect? It will absolutely nail G. He's stunned. He's in trouble. Call down is here as well. Can G get out? The surge for Misery to save his friend, but cost him his own life. Now a homing missile giving chase as well. I don't think you want to jive Tycat with the Eclipse, and they will agree, but LGD.int just get caught out in the river.
And that was with a Luna TP in as well. Luna, Pycat was thinking of going for a really nice Eclipse just as he hits level 7, but he brought a creep wave with him. The creep wave came through the river, chasing him because he drawed aggro, and as a result, there was no opportunity to get off a good Eclipse.
And G just hasn't really been on the mark with these ganks so far. Able to live, but his positioning did end up costing the Darkseer his life, and that's going to delay Misery, who's already behind. DK, now we take another look at the gold graph. About a 2.5k gold lead, 3k experience lead. DK, they're cruising.
Yeah, this is really well played all around. Everyone playing their role correctly, and the overall strategy from DK has been so well executed. They didn't rush things with Chen pushing down towers, because look how much we talked about. Darkseer's been shut down under leveled. If you push that tower in the first 3-4 minutes of the game, you're just pushing out the creep wave so that he can get more easy farm. Instead,
they're not doing it. QQQ getting close to level 7. Could have his 3 Chen creeps fairly soon. Yeah. And for LGD.int, I feel their lineup is somewhat sort of their old strategy, where you get the early mech on the Darkseer, and you 5-man with a Luna who's been given safe lane and has a fast max rank in Lucent Beam as well as the Eclipse. But Pycat hasn't really been too effective with his early rotations. Neither has Misery, and LGD.int, it's going to be harder for them later in the game to group. Then you're looking at a Gyro who starts to get some damage items out. You're pushing into Boat, Hand of God, Call Down, Flat Cannon. LGD, they may just have to play this one more defensively now, which isn't normally the way they like to play.
Yeah, and the problem is DK aren't going to be looking to just push in and feed away any kills. They're actually sitting back, just farming things up for the most part. Gyrocopter, he's picked up an Ogre Club.
Mid lane, they're going to go in on G. The X, the Torrent combo is there. Power Shot connects as well. G, driven back.
Yeah.
And in the end, he will escape, but the pressure is there.
Yeah, and DK, they've actually brought their entire team apart from Burning mid, so they're going to look for this tier 1 tower. Even if they don't get it, they're creating space for Burning to keep on farming, try and get up that BKB.
No pressure on Burning. Up against a Slark, a Luna, a Visage. So many aggressive early to mid-game heroes, but DK creating space with the 4. It's evolving into a 4 Protect 1, and they're looking at the tower. Double Dark Troll Warlord. This is going to drive LGD back. There's only a level 3 Ion Shell. There's no points in Vacuum yet. He's actually taken the wall early. Very unorthodox skill build, but that is not going to help you now. DK, they'll take their next tower of the game, and for LGD, now they have to start looking at trades.
Yeah, this is really difficult for them to even find good trades, though, because DK, if they see anything going on, they just sit back, soak up the pressure, because while they're ahead, they're just going to be looking to take those small steps to get further ahead. Farm the Chen Mech, farm the BKB on Gyrocopter, and once they have these key items up, then they can look to group up and take riskier team fights.
They've actually rotated Burning down bottom lane. I wonder if they want to make a go on this last tier 1. They'll smoke up with 4, and they'll look to go. And it's actually a pretty good time to smoke, because top lane, way past the river, mid lane, where the tier 1 was, not the most obvious gank, and even if they don't get a kill, they get under this tower, LGD will have to forfeit it.
At the same time, it'll be, at least LGM will be expecting heroes behind Burning.
They're going to wrap around, though. They're going back towards mid. They have the level 1 Torrent. They've got the Ghost Ship, and a double damage rate on Super could be a huge fight if LGD commit. Remember, there's no mech. They're a bit underleveled. They don't have any points in Vacuum, and here comes the backstab. Super, he'll lead the way. Look for the boat. Can he find the Torrent? He hasn't found a thing yet. He pops the double damage room, but gets thrown up in the air. Drop back down. Still can't really do a whole lot. Soul Assumption comes through. Super, still alive. Still doing good damage. They found 1437. They want G as well. They'll X him. They'll pull him back in. He's going to drop 2. 2 hit the deck. Hand of God for good measure. Why not? And do they go for a tier 2 here? That's the question.
Go for it. It looks just like they're doing that. That was so smart from DK. They showed Gyrocopter bottom, and at that point, LGD are thinking, okay, they're pushing bottom tier 1. Let's go for the trades we were talking about. They wanted to trade tier 1 mid for the tier 1 bottom, but 4 heroes smoked around. Gyrocopter then rotated as soon as he pushed out the creep wave, and DK get 2 more kills and maybe a tier 2 tower.
I really love the item selection from DK as well. We're going to see QQQ, I imagine, rushing the mech, but Burning, early BKB. We're not seeing the Helm of the Dominator. Sure, LGD and don't have the CK Wisp, but you pick this kind of a strong early to mid-game control lineup. Take advantage of it. Get the BKB. Starts a team fight in 5-man.
Yeah, they've been 5-manning for like the last 3 or 4 minutes, and we're only 12 minutes into this game. DK just going to swing top now with their entire 5-man lineup, and they're just daring LGD to take a fight. This is not a good team fight lineup from LGD. Slark doesn't offer a whole lot. Darks is only level 7, doesn't have a mech or anything up, so he's not exactly as great as Darksy normally is. And Visage, it's single target burst damage with a Soul Assumption, but even that is not that impressive when your Visage is level 4.
When LGD run this kind of a lineup with the Darkseer Luna, a lot of the team fight isn't from the spells. It's from the early mech. They don't have the early mech, and they don't have the early BKB. That really neuters their ability to fight.
Yeah, what is Luna going to do here? Finding an Eclipse against Chen creeps in a big 5-man, not going to happen.
Yeah, it's another good reason to pick up the Chen for DK. They'll now look for the tier 2 top. They've already taken a lot of the outer towers, the tier 2 mid, the tier 1 mid, and LGD, they'll go for a smoke gank. They'll wrap around, but Pycat isn't inside the smoke, so he will trail. But the tower's dropping pretty quickly. The skeleton's here. They're going to find RTK. Is he the one you want? Can they actually get on him? They'll leap. They'll try to pull him in, but Super's lurking in the trees. Look for the boat. It might hit 3. The boat arrives. Hello and goodbye to LGD. Just getting chewed apart. Such brilliant and patient play from Super. He's punishing LGD. Brax on the run. Has a TP. No way out for him, it looks. Shackle. That'll set up a torrent. Power shot as well. A team wipe. You got to credit Super there. What a play.
What a play. Immediately drops a Central Ward, and what a torrent boat coming out. I would not be surprised if we see something like a 14-15 minute GG right now, because LGD are just getting outplayed, outmaneuvered by Team DK, who are just playing some perfect Dota right now.
Crouching Kunkka, hidden boat. That's the story here for DK, looking at the tier 2 top as well. If they want to go Roach, they'll have the mech soon. Such fantastic positioning. They now lead by 8,000 gold, 7,500 experience, maybe a little bit less than that. But the key thing for me is I feel LGD needs those team fight items more, if anything, and they don't have them. Because you look at DK, they have Boat, they have Call Down, they have Hand of God. These spells are just great team fight by themselves. LGD, their team fight, very item dependent.
This game is so reminiscent of that Alliance game where they had the Axe Draft and just completely dominate all over the map. That game they didn't give up a kill or anything, but this time around, it's a very similar way DK are playing. It's so dominant and aggressive, but at the same time very methodical. Take tower by tower, take calculated team fights, and just get ridiculously farmed and just LGD getting completely destroyed right now.
And Kunkka continues to do work. This is kind of your unsung hero of Chinese Dota as of late. 2-0 and 6 for Super. Also very effective against Slark. This is now the second or third game where we've seen Kunkka just really shut that hero down.
Yeah, G has got absolutely nothing. He's going to have enough gold just for treads or something now, but LGD ain't going to find themselves with a bit of space to farm, get some levels, but only because DK, they're regrouping, picking up some items, and then going to go for their next 5-man push. It looks like bottom lane is going to be where they want to take it.
The work on the tower, and for LGD, again, you got to trade, but maybe we'll see DK go for a bit of a flip around here. They've got the BKB on burning. The stash is where the recipe lurks, and if he gets this in time, they can defend their tier 1 mid. They may even be able to defend it without it. Super lurking undercover in Viz, maybe looking for a kill. He'll go on the familiars. If he can kill that, it's 100 gold.
He would have loved to pick that up. He won't get that. ROTK,
delicious.
He's got the mech, so DK have everything they need at this point to essentially push. BKB, Shadowblade, mech, all these core items, and
still no mech on Misery. 15 minutes in. Really far behind, and part of it's they haven't gotten towers. Their lineup also good at taking early towers with the familiars, the Luna aura. We've seen from LGD in the past. That's kind of the strength of this Darkseer Luna composition. Your great 5-man push lineup around the 5-6 minute mark, but DK have just been ready for that, and they haven't gotten it going. They'll go for the tier 1 top now. They may get their mech off of this, but still, DK, much bigger items now for them. RTK has his mech. He'll work towards his next item. Burning with the BKB. What does LGD actually do against a BKB gyro? They don't have much of a solution for it.
They don't have a whole lot of answers. Dire Team actually do pop a glyph here. LGD, regardless, get the tier 1 top tower. There's the gyro BKB. He's had it for some time. It just took a while to fly out. He's got 1,500 gold on top of this as well.
I'm not sure if you can actually X the birds. I guess you can, but it was sitting under cover of stone form, so... Well, that's an odd mechanic if it actually works. That's not one I know.
You can ensnare them. Dark Troll Warlord. Oh, I gotta ensnare that. That's free gold QQQ.
Where's AUI 2000 when you need him? He's the one person who would probably know that mechanic, but not here. He just flew back and is getting some much-deserved rest in Vancouver.
Absolutely, absolutely. DK, they take Roshan, they take tier 3 towers. What's next for them?
I think you take Roche. You have the aggressive lane wards. They should have a gem soon if they don't already, and how do LGD actually take a fight at Roche? Against the BKB Gyro and Boat, there's no way that LGD even thinks about that. They don't have a highly leveled vacuum. It's only a level 1 wall. Sure, they have this mech for Misery. LGD can't take a 5v5 fight. Not at the Roshan pit, and DK, pretty obvious choice. They'll go for it now.
Yeah, they'll take this. LGD probably knows something like... They're either expecting this or a big 5-man smoke gang. So the problem is, even while Roche is going on, they're not really able to push out lanes, well, at least split push out lanes. They have to stay stuck together. They'll know soon enough that they're in Roshan, but that just means, hey, they're coming 5-manning down one of these lanes looking for a rack soon.
They're sending the familiar here. Maybe Brax can be a hero. Deny that Aegis. Snipe the Roche. It'll lurk on the high ground, but Bernie's going to spot it out. Well, there goes your glimmer of hope for LGD. Thing is, guys, if they actually contest this, if they do lose that fight, that's game.
Yeah.
They're so far behind at this point that it's a low percentage fight at the base, but at least they have a shot. I feel at Roche, almost impossible.
Yeah, this is not a good place to be fighting into a Kunkka. Even if you're hitting a Darkseer wall vacuum, it's not going to be all too pretty. It's a level 1 vacuum.
And you're against
Misery.
Kunkka and Gyro. They just kill the illusions and one flat cannon. Probably one Kunkka cleave. Yeah,
and the boat, the Coco's run, we've seen how powerful this skill has been and just in soaking up all this damage, and LGD just would not have enough to get those kills.
So, I mean, they're making the right decisions. Problem is, they're making the right decisions when they're very far behind, and that doesn't necessarily let you get back in the game. They're working towards Pycat's BKB. Still a bit of a ways off, and for DK, I don't feel they have to wait much longer. I think you can start sieging the base now.
Yeah, maybe want to try find a pick off on these key heroes who are going to be the heroes LG look to bring them back in the game, like Pycat, if you can stop him getting a BKB. I think more than anything, though, push out lanes, get in a position where you can actually be grouped up as 5 and not have to worry about split push coming out from any of these heroes.
Well, Invis rune for him. Just not a whole lot Slark can do. I mean, they do have quite a few heroes that are somewhat snowball-oriented. Slark, even Luna. Luna here, they can farm her way to victory, but against DK's burst damage and AoE, well, she needs a lot of items to do that, and hard for her to fight, so they just don't have a tempo controller this game. When LGD have had success, it's the dual roam early. That's the one main way that we've seen. From Misery 1437, when they were the 2 supports. The other way is G. And we're not seeing either of them really having that impact. Hard to see how this team gets back in the game. Yeah,
I mean, G as a player and Slark especially as a hero, it's hot or cold. It's one of these things where he's trying to snowball. If it doesn't happen, it really hurts LGD.int's playstyle. They go for these sort of passive-aggressive trialings where they're just looking to sort of control the farm. It worked out okay here. They had Pycat on the safe lane 1v1 in his matchup. He did okay there, but so much is reliant on G doing well in mid lane, and he got completely shut down. It's almost like what happened with VG Gaming. They shut down CTY, the team crumbles.
Well, we'll see if LGD can bounce back here. Game 1, though, looking very tough. the rest of the way. RTK gem up on him. That's also going to neuter your Slark in the team fights. No longer will we see G running rampant, or at least running away safely. That won't be happening unless we see the gem dropping. And DK, slowly but surely, they're going to work their way towards mid. Very meticulous play from them this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And their support's just getting so ridiculously fine. We've got a Chen who's almost got a completed Aghanim. We've got Crystal Maiden with Urn starting
Jesus,
up.
does he really almost have eggs? My goodness.
And CM is like halfway to a 4-staff, almost has a ring of regen. I imagine this is for a 4-staff. It's really scary how farm DK are.
Meanwhile, Super, 2.4k. Everybody is relatively close to a big item. So if they want to wait for Burning's MKB, maybe give it in a couple minutes, go for Roche number 2, and then try to break the base. Sure, LGD.int, they get up the Luna BKB by then, but how much does that really do for you?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, wow, CM, MMY, 4-staff is complete. He actually had one of the pieces on Courier, so...
My goodness.
As far as CMs go, I mean, we said, how is this guy gone from playing Storm Spirit and Lion solo mid as like one of the biggest playmakers in solo mids in the world to playing support Crystal Maiden? Well...
3-0-6. Okay. I stand corrected.
And CM, 2-0 now in competitive Dota in the last month.
I still hate this hero. I mean, Dai, you can dress her up all she wants, but at the end of the day, this is one of the most boring and annoying sports, unless you hit a big ultimate. Yeah. But when's the last time you've seen that?
Did Crystal Maiden get any buffs in the recent patch?
I believe Blizzard got buffed again.
Jesus,
I forget.
How much?
I don't know if that's what Crystal Maiden needs. They'll force staff in mid. They will pick off 1437 here. RTK brings him down with the double damage rune. I think she got another buff, but I can't remember what it is offhand. Might have even been her
freezing
aura.
Field. I know last patch was freezing field. That
Did I call it Blizzard? Yeah, freezing field.
Yeah.
Thinking of Warcraft 3.
I knew what you meant.
Well, you're a Warcraft 3 player, so you'll cut me some slack there.
Yeah, some of these people who start with Dota 2 often get confused. Like when we call Lifestealer Nakes. But
we're not secretly hated on Valve. We're not talking about that, Blizzard guys. DK, they'll break the high ground here. Shackle Shot level 4 is available. Mech is online, and they're just going to go to work on the creep wave. No MKB yet on Bernie, but he's got the gold for it. Still has the Aegis. I wonder how long he's got on the Aegis. We'll check in a second. Familiar number 1 comes in. Stomp connects on QQQ, but he's a Chen with 1200 HP. What can you really do? It doesn't feel like a whole lot. Aegis will take a quick look now. About a minute and a half left, so DK plenty of time to roll their way through this push. Glyph has already been used. A couple more rounds, tower's going to fall.
This is it for LG, and they've got to make a good, strong defense here. The BKB picked up on Pycat just in time for this, but even with it, it's going to be very difficult.
Oh, let's see if RTK can find that shackle. The other way to initiate is with your torrent, your X. And LGD wisely staying back. They don't want to get caught up by Super. He throws a blind torrent. It's going to hit on G. I don't know if that's the one you want to connect on, though. Probably the most dangerous hero to die. Burning gets caught by the familiar stuns, but just not a whole lot of burst to follow it up. Shackle, oh, if he shot that for Misery, would have hit too. Burning, MKB picked up, just delivered. And now the tower's really going to start to fall. You can siege it from the low ground. You won't be missing any auto attacks. A great item to clear out that base and clear out the racks. And DK looking for this racks.
Yeah, 1437 actually going to go down. X-Torrent, one big swing, and
there's your ball. Here's the follow-up. Burning gets caught. He gets leashed up, but there is still an Aegis. He's got a BKB. He'll save it for a second life. He will go down, but he comes back with an MKB and a head full of steam. Birds, familiars, caught in a bad spot. Probably going to drop here. If DK wants to focus them, they should be able to pick them off. One cleave. They don't get both, but is there a resummon? There actually is. LGD.int defending all right so far, but problem is now no mech, no wall, and DK going for round 2.
Well, another bird go down. Brax has done fantastic stalling this push just by spamming these familiar stuns. That's what's been keeping this tier 3 tower alive oh so long, but there we go. The birds get killed by one big gyrocopter. Black Cannon now going to do cleave through. LG International, BKB on the gyrocopter, BKB on Pycat, not going to keep him alive. The MKB damage from Burning is more than enough. LG, they're now going through all the buybacks, trying for this one last hole. Crystal Maiden, poor CM, goes down, and it's Misery now in the fray, trying to do enough damage with the Iron Shot to pick off Super here. Super's on the run. Super's trying to get out of there. The Coco's run, not going to save his life. The Soul Assumption finishes him off, but Burning, Rampage!
B-God is back, or at least having a fantastic game. What a fight from DK. I will say, guys, I don't feel too bad for poor Crystal Maiden because Dai actually force-staffed himself up the hill way towards the enemy tier 3s completely on his own.
Yeah.
He got what he paid for there.
And Visage, the only one left alive. So many, I think 2-3 buybacks used by LG International. This is it for them. They're going to lose Raxes. Even if they hold here, it's just such an uphill battle. DK not going through a single buyback.
Burning just finished his MKB, now has 3.2k gold. So yeah, the chances of comeback just got a whole lot slimmer. And Burning, look at his net worth, 14.5k net worth. The next closest is Luna with not even half that. He's over doubling her up. That's got to be it. I just don't. LGD.int, they can't deal with this gyro. Even if they defend, It's going to take more buybacks. There's another great item to pick the base. Aghanim Scepter for Chen.
Chen has more net worth than a Darkseer, as does the win ramp, and by a big margin. 6.2k to the 5.2 on Darkseer. This Crystal Maiden compared to the Darkseer, they're pretty much neck and neck here.
That's not a good sign.
That's embarrassing.
6, 1, and 3. Dai is just showing off on the pathetic little Crystal Maiden. Still good enough, it appears, and with the Aghanim Scepter especially, such a good item to just go in, work on the racks. If you drop a little bit low, you pop your Hand of God, 30-second cooldown. You come right back, round 2, even with the next creep wave. You can just pop this Ag Scepter every creep wave. It's so hard to defend against that.
It's going to be incredibly difficult for LGN to hold. I mean, they held that last push, but not really. Things just got a whole lot harder and worse for them. It wasn't a one fight for them. The gold graph gets uglier and uglier with all these fights, and next push coming from DK, they may not have an Aegis, but they may as well with all the items they've picked up.
They'll have a little fun here. Super, he's picked up a Crystallis, working towards a Daedalus to call his own, and he'll find G. G could be in trouble, leaps away, but Super, under cover of Shadowblade, giving chase. G, got to find a way out. He'll TP here. Can he get away? It looks like he should be okay in the end, but the threat is there, and they can't really leave the base to farm. Not against the Kunkka with the Shadowblade.
No, Kunkka's always looking for these pickoffs, and that's something which is going to make it so difficult for LGM to come back from. Burning, well, he's not done farming. Finds a big creep wave as top of Chen. Just casual ultimate. Hand of God gets used.
Why not? You can spam it.
Yeah.
It's 30-second cooldown. Look at it already. Almost halfway cooldown.
Windrunner took some damage from neutrals, and that 100 HP needs to be healed back, LD.
I'm pretty sure RTK was screaming at QQQ because, well, that's what RTK does.
Ulti me, ASAP. I need them
heal
healed.
me now. Heal me now. And QQQ's like, okay, no need to be a dick about it. Mid lane, they'll go in on Misery. Could be a decent fight for LGD, in fact, but the boat comes in. Super still alive, dishing out good damage. Hasn't found a kill just yet. Die on the run. How is he alive? Hand of God just used. That's what's keeping him back. He'll get sent home by QQQ. Great play from him. Burning comes in from the side. Side swipes, Brax, G, and now they're all on the run. And this could be the end.
The Chen heal was on cooldown. It almost led to CM's death. It just came off cooldown at the last possible second to save the Crystal Maiden.
Oh no, they're not done yet. They want Thabon. 1437 in trouble. Pulled back in. Beautiful lift. Doesn't matter. Still gonna drop. And DK, one of the teams that when you looked at LGD, even back in the G League, I think they mentioned that DK, they actually had a very low win rate against in scrims and struggle here in game 1.
It was the only team they lost to in the G League before that grand finals. In the group stage, it was actually the funny thing, because LGD got first in their group, DK got knocked out in the group stage, but DK actually beat LGD, the team getting first in their group. Unfortunately for them, it was the only match they won in the group stage.
In game 1, LGD just seemed completely figured out by DK. The movement was spectacular from QQQ. Burning, farmed well. Super didn't die, which was the main thing for him. Able to barely escape from that level 1 gank. You imagine maybe the game goes a bit differently if they find the kill there, but it didn't, and it doesn't, and now they're in trouble. Nice leap away from G. He'll pop his wand. He will live, but Burning's having a blast here. Drops the call down. No, actually doesn't. Not the call down, just the flat cannon. Godlike for him. Double kill for Burning. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Finally, LGD in. They tap out. This game's been over for quite a while.
Yeah. 20k gold. I mean, it's like I said, 13, 40 minutes in when there was that big team wipe at the top tier 2 tower. A lot of teams were called GG then. LGD, they fought hard, and you've got to give it to them. They tried to claw their way back in this game, but every time they took a fight, DK were ready for them.
So you look at the draft. I thought LGD's draft was pretty good. I mean, the one thing is if you go for Slark, he's got to have a good start. Because, especially when you put him solo mid. Because if he doesn't, well, look at what Kunkka brings to the team fights later on. Torrent, Cleave, that does a lot of damage to everyone, and the boat. Slark just can't contribute that much. He's got to win his lane.
Yeah, they had the Slark, and then you have something like a Luna as well. Luna's a carry that is good for these early to mid-game pushes, not a good hero to play with from behind. That's where you want to have your Gyrocopter, your Lifestealer, your Lone Druid, something which sort of is a better comeback plan. Luna, when you have that bad start, it wasn't even Pycat playing poorly, because he more or less won his lane. He was farming decently enough, but you can't come back when your other lanes just don't work out as they did.
And LGD, the early smoke gank fails. That puts them behind. Efficient jungling from QQQ, just all the little things going the way of DK. Some of it luck, some of it skill, and in the end, too much for LGD.
Yeah, so LGD, well, they've come back from a one-game loss before. They did it in their last DSL match up against Rattlesnake, so we'll see if they can do it here again. They're down a game against DK. Definitely a team, LGD, and we've seen them do so well in G League. They're here now in the DSL. $165,000 roughly in US dollars, 1 million RMB.
It's pretty petty.
It's a lot of prize money. Biggest prize pool after international. We kept saying about G1 League, but DSL, like, we're just going to show them up.
Yeah, DSL, they're showing off, and so is DK. DK, they'll take this best of 3, game 1, convincingly at that. They're coming out party for the DSL, haven't played a match yet. LGD, they are 1-0. They took down Rattlesnakes in a 2-1 victory, but struggle here in game 1.
Yep, they struggle here in Game 1, guys. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be live with Game 2. We'll see if LG International can bounce back, take back the series, or if DK are going to comfortably take it 2-0. See you guys then.